12:12 as I'm hitting record, and that feels incredibly appropriate. I'm not sure, but whatever you see on the title is what will be came through. I'm guided to start by acknowledging that we have been through quite an intense void space with so much shifting and exiting. And finally, today, as of the moment I'm recording this, things are finally starting to open. And I won't even say reopen because this feels like they're opening in a whole new way. I know many of the divine sacred feminines have been going through quite a period of feeling frustrated and uncertain without much guidance about how to move forward. But many of you, as we have been discussing here, have opted to continue to trust, to surrender to the higher power, to temper and balance yourself and your emotions, using the opportunity to deepen into resting, rejuvenating, or whatever you were guided to do through this process. And as a result of that, a lot of things are now beginning to open up and move forward. I want to take a moment right here and right now to just give each and every one of you thanks for tempering and surrendering and for the deep levels of work that you have accomplished and that you are holding. Because as a result of the feminine collective holding and tempering, this is actually allowing the next phase to open up in a deeper way. I also feel that this is freeing us from many old entrapments and old energies, all the way back to the beginning, all the way back to those original core wound and rips, separation rips. And yes, I just want to take a moment to have each and every one of you, if you feel guided, to just take a nice deep breath into your heart space. Connect to your higher power, your higher self, your connection to Mother Earth. And as you take these breaths, just allow yourself to open to receive all of this new, fresh energy and potential. It really does truly feel that for a wave of the twin flame divine counterpart collective, that a new phase, that a new cycle is opening. And it feels like to me there's many or enough of the collective wave that have tempered and balanced, that have worked their initiation and are now poised to open to what comes next. And this may feel quite different because I feel that we're reaching a phase where we may not have a lot of information about yet because it's new, because this is a place and a point that we have not reached or achieved previously. Yes, before the fall, we were in union energies and unity consciousness. But since the fall, we have not held these states of consciousness or unity consciousness, unconditional love energies. And so we are deepening into that in new ways. And even though those frequencies were here on our planet, we're now holding them and experiencing them and sharing them in new ways as a result of all of the time and experiences that have happened since they were here before, right? So, yes, it's like a restoration and a renewal of the truth that's always been. But at the same time, it's a new experience because we've never been this version of ourselves before, right? So there's lots of new energies opening. There's lots of processing of what was, right? Probably a lot of you have been feeling that, especially over this past 3, 4, 5 days in the few weeks leading up with the 8/8 portal, the full moon. And now we have, thank goodness, Mercury retrograde coming to an end. Now, I haven't had a Mercury retrograde hit me this hard in quite some time. And again, it was an opportunity, but it really feels like that's why we felt so much sort of stalled out energy, some of that frustrating energy with uncertainty of how to move forward. Even I said I was going to share some things, but there was really just no energy behind it at this time. And what is even happening for me is I'm noticing part of that is actually because new things that I wasn't aware of wanted to be born, right? And come to life. And if I would have been focused on what I already knew, I wouldn't have seen the new creations that wanted to come forward. And so this might be something that's happening or did happen for many of you as a result. And oh, I forgot. That's actually reminding me. I haven't been here on YouTube in a few days. And on 8/8, I did record a session called Seeding Sacred Union. And it was a video where we went into this specific space where the twin flame divine counterparts had sort of protected themselves from one another. But then also, like, where the feminine protected the masculine from her, and the masculine protected the feminine from him. But then it just became sort of this cluster of insulation, and in that session, we went into it and were holding space to allow your system, in accordance with your soul, of course, and what felt aligned, to allow any of that information that was ready to dissolve. And it was about restoring and remembering the seeds of sacred union that were planted, say, during the soul merge or the love bubble phase, and refocusing back to the true energies that are meant to be a part of your mission to embody and share unconditional love, unity, consciousness, and the sacred union in whatever way you're called. It's different for each person and each couple and each partnership and each union, right? I think that there are many ways that these energies can be expressed, and it's not necessarily about it looking or us expecting it to be a very specific way, right? This feels like in the new phase, it's about the frequency. And it's also about releasing our past agendas or thoughts around what partnership or romance or intimate relationships are supposed to be, right? And really dropping into the co creation process. Because if we're truly building in the new energy, this is actually something that you won't fully know until these partnerships are forming or are formed. Or even if you're in one already, you may notice that you're being called to open up in new ways and have new conversations or new discussions around how to co create in aligned and interdependent ways, right? It feels really important that each is committed to themselves and their own sovereignty, right? So that you can come in and have a sovereign partnership where you each get to express who you are, right? And feel safe to do so. And it also feels like it's important to allow the space for the partnerships to evolve together and to co-create whatever the sacred container of the connection is going to be, because that is how the new earth and the new foundation and the things that are meant to come forward from these connections will actually have space to plant, bloom, and blossom. It's not about one or the other having all of the answers. It's about the co-leadership, the co-creation, right? Of the process together that creates the bigger energy. And this is what we are being called to focus on in this next phase, regardless of the status of your connection in this moment, right? Because this is the process, it's preparation or it's deepening into it, it's revisiting, it's relooking at what you already have going on. It all really depends on your circumstances and your guidance. But ultimately, that's a big thing that's coming through, right? And one of the things I'm guided that's going to be coming forward, I'm not exactly sure when, some of these seeds start to sprout, but we got to wait till they're ready to harvest. But I did see coming soon at some point, I'll be offering and sharing a series of the seven chakras sessions, like one for each chakra around stabilizing the sacred union energies. And there's just a lot of different things opening connected to seeding and stabilizing sacred union. You've already been doing these things through your whole life and through this process and initiation. But now we're reaching a point because of your capacity to temper even in the discomfort. This doesn't mean you don't feel uncomfortable. It doesn't mean you're never triggered. It doesn't mean those things. It means how are you responding? How are you handling it, right? How are you centering back to yourself and using the opportunity, right? Those are the key pieces that you're connecting in with to recognize how far you have come, how much you've grown, how much you have transformed, and how you're a whole new version and embodiment of yourself, right? Those are the keys. Those are the things that you're looking for to know that you're ready to move to the next phase, right? That's how you know it's time. And there are enough of us on this planet and in this collective that have achieved enough of this energy to be able to collectively move to the next phase. Now, if you're watching this and you don't feel quite there yet, that's okay, right? We're all in different parts of this. But again, now you kind of know what to strengthen into. And just know it's not about perfection. It's about progress, right? You're looking for progress over perfection because we're humans. We're doing something that we haven't done, embodying our higher selves into physicality while there are lots of shifts and evolution happening, right? So, that in and of itself deserves to be acknowledged and appreciated. We're not supposed to have every single thing figured out, especially ahead of time. This is about being in the present, being present with yourself, being present with your truth to the best of your ability in that moment, caring for yourself, holding space for yourself. And then when it feels aligned, opening to the reciprocity and camaraderie with others, whether it's family or friends or partnership or your divine counterpart, twin flame, whoever, whatever, wherever, why ever, it's coming from what feels aligned for you. And whatever occurs, again, is an opportunity. Okay. So I know I just talked quite a bit. I'm gonna just open up and see if I do feel guided to go to the priestess of light and just see if there's any messages that want to come through for the feminines. I know that you've been going through it. I know that you've been holding strong and you're doing beautiful. And let's see. Touching earth, planting something new. Wow. There's your confirmation. Let's see what wants to come through. Is there anything else we can focus on in the physical with this planting something new? Yes. Wow. Okay. Continuing to embody more and more of your essence, right? And also continuing to home in on your inner union, strengthening into yourself, balancing that strength and power. Wow. Okay. This is everything that I feel like we just kind of talked about, right? And with these major arcana, it's really, really hitting it home and confirming if there's ever a moment that you're in doubt, uncertain, and feeling like you don't know what to do or where things are headed, refocus just right back to your heart, right back to yourself in that moment. I know that might not be the exact outcome answer, but it is something that's very powerful in the moment because it's bringing your power, your life force, your essence, your energy back to the center, back to you, back to yourself in the present moment, which is where your power actually lives, right? Ooh, that's bringing me to another part. For any of you who may have been feeling that there are areas, no matter what you do, you're still sort of feeling stuck or uncertain or have blind spots. I actually was guided to put on my schedule a past life regression session, but I also